Hey, what's up YouTube? Luster Buster here. I'm going to be doing a clutch pack change on a 2017 fz09. This one's got about 1,300 miles on it. So for this you're going to need a 5mm Allen wrench, and I think it's a 10mm socket. Then you're going to need about 5 quarts of 10W40. Then you're going to need an oil filter. I bought a new gasket for mine. You may not need one. I did. Mine kind of came apart. It's in pretty bad shape. Guys, make sure you soak your plates in oil for at least 12 hours. It's nice to have paper towels, gloves, whatever else you're going to need. A drip pan, oil drip pan. Yep, so let's get to it. Alright guys, so there's your cover plate. That's that 5mm Allen that I was talking about. The only different one here is this one. You'll see it has, I don't know if you can see it here. Yeah, it's got that arrow. It's longer than the rest of them, but other than that, they're all the same. So this one actually has one exterior plate, which is like a plastic, I guess, protective plate, keep it from getting scraped, whatever. And then also you're gonna have this plate on the side. So don't forget to put that back on whenever you're done. This spring comes off pretty easy. You're just gonna pull it off like that. That's it. That's the only thing holding it. And then you have to loosen this off. That nut. Loosen it. Pull it off. And then there's actually a metal tab on the back side of this cable that holds it in. So you're gonna have to pry that metal tab off to pull it out. You won't have to drain the oil if you wanna. I mean, I would recommend doing an oil change. Go ahead and change it out. However, you don't have to if you don't want to. You can pull this plate off without draining oil. You're not gonna have any problems with oil spilling out on you or anything like that. So there are 3 bolts that hold this cover plate on. One's at the very top, one at about 9 o'clock, and one at about 6 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock. That's that long one we were talking about. I got a red solo cup to keep my bolts handy. So that just comes right off. That's what the inside looks like. It's got like a foam piece. Alright guys, so here's what it looks like on the inside. Here's your clutch basket. Clutch pull rod's got these teeth on it. And it was about like that. It's normal for it to be that loose. That's how it's supposed to be. You've got your plate with your 3 bolts. Then you got your cover plate. This is what it looks like from the inside. Down here you have a little gear with your clutch rod, your pull rod, and that basically is what this goes into, grips onto that. So when you pull your clutch in, it's actually pulling this entire plate out, which creates the gap in between your clutch plates and your friction plates. So just keep in mind whenever you put your new plates in, this last plate is actually going in this keyed slot, so don't put it in here. The last one's going to go here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so I just took this plate off. It is 10mm. Take your springs out. So these rubber spacers, I guess is the best name for them. You're gonna have to kind of pry them out, and all they do is separate that plate from touching this plate. There's 3 of them. They only go in one way, so if you get it backwards, it's okay. This plate's gonna come off. Yeah, it's still pretty warm. So when you pull it off, that last plate is probably going to come with it. I'll show you what the inside of this looks like. It's hot. It's got these teeth right here. And this last steel plate is going to fit over that. Just like that. Alright guys, got the old clutch kit out. As you can see, it's pretty burned up. And I got my new clutch pack ready to go. Got them in order. I just set them in the oil pan, just kind of keep them oiled up, ready to go. Here's what it looks like without any plates in it. Make sure you put them in the same order as the old ones came out. That's going to make a tremendous difference with how it runs. So basically the order, if you don't have a diagram online, just really pay attention to how they came out. But that thin one, you're going to have one of the thin friction plates going first, and then followed by regular steel and regular frictions all the way until you get to the front. And then you're going to actually have two of the thin friction plates will be your last two to put in, along with the last steel plate, which is going to be thinner than the rest of the steel plates. Like I said, if you don't understand, if you get lost, just go to YamahaPartsNation.com. It's got the diagram of how all the plates are going to go in. Just reference that. So yeah, let's get them put in. Don't forget, on the steels, put the sharp end facing out. That's how the old ones were.
So when you put them back in, just make sure that sharp lip is facing out, outside, facing you. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. You just steel friction, all the way in. I mean, it's not too hard to put in, I can do it with one hand. Alright, so here's the last thick plate I'm going to put in here. I'm not sure what the significance is of soaking steel plates, because it's just steel. But we're going to soak them too. I have to just make sure that there's oil in between every plate. So here's one of the thinner ones. Like I said, there's two on the outside here. So you can see I've got this one, steel plate, and the last friction plate. I'm going to try and post a link to that diagram in the description. That way you don't have to find yourself.
So on these last ones, I'm not going to put them in the pack. I'm actually going to put them in that cover plate. So as soon as this gets done dripping, so it's going to, like I said, the sharp end facing out, it's just going to fit right in there like that. Oh, actually, friction plate goes on first. Sorry. The last plate should be your friction plate. So you're going to put that one on first. Also be careful while you're soaking these. Don't bend them. If you bend them, it will run terrible. So don't bend your plates. It'll run like garbage. So it's just going to sit like that. And steel plate, sharp end facing out, teeth. Not so easy with one hand. Just like that. Alright, so we got everything in. There shouldn't be any play in these. There shouldn't be any gap. They should be pretty flush together. So if you have a gap, you know you did something wrong. More than likely it's going to be that last steel plate not lined up with the teeth in here. This will fall out when you're trying to put it in, so you got to kind of hold this and the plates on the back while you're putting it in. That's why I couldn't do it with two hands. So next is going to be the rubber spacers. I'm going to put those back in. And your springs, of course. Your plate. It's gonna be extra fun putting this on with one hand. Somebody's out riding. Too bad I'm stuck in here. Alright. Alright, so this rod, it's actually going to be angled down and to the right, because if you can see the way this is going to go, just like that. So whenever you're putting this back on, don't forget about these. They fall out, see, so make sure those are in there. I mean, it's probably better to put them on this side. That's probably a good idea. I'll probably put them in there. This is not too bad, but if you have some of the old gasket, you may want to scrape that off before you put the new one on. That way it doesn't create a gap. See, like mine is pretty bad shape. It's not too bad, but it's kind of down to the metal now, so I went ahead and got a new one. Why not, right? Better to spend the money than have a leak. So, that over there. So, here's the new gasket. Nice and clean, looks good. By the way, I had to order all my parts straight from Yamaha. This is not aftermarket, these are Yamaha parts. They don't make aftermarket clutch for this yet. It's 2019 right now, so I had to go with factory parts. Yippee! The whole clutch back costs about $200 plus the oil, and then the gasket about $250. It's not cheap. It sucks. This is what it is. Don't do bad wheelies. That's pretty much it. After this is getting the cover back on, which is kind of the hard part, because you have to line it up with this. First of all, you have to get it the right angle this way, and then once you get it in, you have to line up this rod. See if I can get it to focus here, where that dot is lined up with the arrow. So it should have flat tension resting right there, so that whenever you pull your lever in, it rotates that gear, pulling your clutch open. Alright, I'm going to try and do a close-up of show you how I'm doing this. Let's see. So right now, lever is right here. I've got my plate on, but my lever's not in the right position. So, clutch cable. I'm gonna have to rotate my lever, and it's actually gonna push the whole cover out as I'm rotating. So just keep rotating until you feel it, just like that. So you're gonna feel it move notches as you're rotating it. And basically you want to get it to where that dot is lined up on the arrow. So I'm going to actually go 2 notches and see how that lines up. Okay, so that's still a little bit too far, so I'm going to go 1 more notch, see how it's not lined up right. It's almost there, but you can see that the tension stops right there. It's pretty close, but not quite. So, I'll go 1 more. Let's see. Right there. I think that was it. Make sure that it's flush down low before you check it. Sometimes there's a gap and it won't line up right. But, so there it is. Dots lined up. The tension. So it stops right there. That's exactly where you want it to be. So I'm looking good. So I'm going to put 2 bolts in, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and then I'm going to secure my clutch line onto my lever before I bolt everything up. Alright, so I got my 2 bolts in. I got my cable in there. It's not tightened down, it's not where I want it yet, but I had to use a wrench to pull this over while I slid that into the, whatever you want to call it, holder, before I can put it on. But there's that tab that I was talking about that holds in the cable in the back. It just bends over. It's real flimsy. No big deal. Just keeps it from falling out. It's a good thing. Don't forget to put your spring back on. Just flip it around like this. Hook it on. Put it on by hand. That's it. Now we're going to get our covers back on, all our bolts back in. Don't forget to put this plate in. Torque it down to spec, and then we'll start it up, because I've already got all my oil in there and my filter in. So I'll start it up, see how it runs, and then we'll go from there about adjusting. Alright guys, so I got the cover plate on. Everything looks like it's good to go. Just keep in mind, whenever you change this out, you're going to have to adjust this, because your cable is going to stretch while you ride it slightly. Not much, but it will stretch. So just keep that in mind. Alright, yep, let's start it up, try it out. Make sure it's good. Alright guys, so that's pretty good. I think I got it where I want it. Another tip, if you start it up, put it in the first gear, and it tries to roll forward while you're holding the clutch in, then you may have to adjust it a little bit. Either right here on this knob, just rotate that knob one way or the other until it feels right, or in there on your cable. Just adjust that nut to wherever you want it. Right now I think it's good, so I can go ahead and tighten down my nuts. We should be good to go. Let me know what you guys think about my sub cage. I don't know if I like it. color doesn't exactly match the rest of this game. It's kind of brighter. I might paint it black, I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe. Tips, tricks, throw them in the comments. I'll try and leave a link to the diagram. Just go to YamahaPartsNation.com. Type in your make and model, all that. You can actually look at the diagram of the clutch. It'll show you the order of the plates, all the parts. It'll have the prices, the parts numbers, all that jazz. So, anyways, thanks guys.